topic was the new frontier. Let's figure out what that is. All right, so here's the quote I gave them. This is actually from a speech. It's from Kennedy's acceptance speech, or inauguration speech, if you will. Let's see what Kennedy had to say and figure out if this represents change or continuity. Some would say that those struggles are all over, that all the horizons have been explored, that all the battles have been won, that there is no longer an American frontier. But I trust that no one in this assemblage would agree with that sentiment, for the problems are not all solved, and the battles are not all won. And we stand today on the edge of a new frontier, the frontier of the 1960s, the frontier of unknown opportunities and perils, the frontier of unfulfilled hopes and unfulfilled threats. Ooh, gotta be careful with that. That is a choice our nation must make. A choice that lies not merely between two men or two parties, but between the public interest and private comfort, between national greatness and national decline, between the fresh air of progress and stale, dank atmosphere of normalcy, between dedication of mediocrity. Oh, wow. Powerful words. Think back to the 50s, right? Consumerism. We even had that quote, rebels fling their grenades of animosity into the cafes of conformity, knowing they can't change. And yeah, we talked about challengers of conformity, but there did seem to be almost a settling in, a resting on your laurels, so to speak, of 50s culture. And Kennedy's challenging that mindset. He's saying that our work is not done. You might think we've reached an endpoint, but that is not the case. So this quote does not go into details as far as policy is concerned. If you look into that more, you find that this is really extension of, say, New Deal programs, expansions of Social Security, incorporating more farmers, trying to provide more financial assistance. So that being said, do they consider this a change or a continuity? And we find the new frontier is, a continuity. And let's see their argument. John F. Kennedy is trying to say that we have not done all we can and we need to change. There's always room to change, explore. Okay. All right. So here's something they viewed as similar to it. The Roosevelt Corollary. Okay. Justified U.S. intervention. Now, if you're looking at the new frontier in more literal terms, like an expansion of borders and influence, sure, maybe you could see that connection. I would have kept it more domestic, just as Kennedy tries to make his speech more domestic. I would have maybe seen it as a continuity of maybe FDR's New Deal program. But that's just me. Next topic up will be the Alliance for Progress. I believe this is a vocab term too. So let's figure out what the Alliance for Progress is. What quotes do I have? I got a single quote. Okay, this is from John F. Kennedy, same speech as the New Frontier. To our sister republics south of our border, we offer a special pledge to convert our good words into good deeds in a new alliance for progress, to assist free men and free governments in casting off the chains of poverty. Interesting. Okay, so this is an extension to the southern republics, right? Mexico, South America, that we're going to be nice. Good deeds, good words. All right. Someone referred to it as a Marshall Plan for South America as far as assistance, much like we did in Europe. But what Laster say? This is change, continuity. And they said, it's kind of change. Let's see what they said. All right. Oh, they connected to the Roosevelt Corollary. See, this makes more sense. If Kennedy's talking about, foreign policy connection, I'm glad that they chose another topic that's about foreign policy connection. And let's see how they argue it's a change. I think they're right on the money. During the edition of the Roosevelt Corollary, it stated that the U.S. could intervene. That's right. We were talking about an extension of the Monroe Doctrine. But this is a change. This isn't just about trying to intervene and be, as Roosevelt put it, like a global police force. This is more about economic assistance. Now, Unfortunately, this will not have the same impact the Marshall Plan in Europe did. The money doesn't get funneled nearly as efficiently as it did for that plan. But I definitely agree that this is at least conceptually a change in philosophy. That leads us to our next topic, religion. Whoops, hitting the wrong buttons here. It says new. All right, we only got 3 topics left. All right, let's talk about religion here. What did I throw at them? All right. There we go. All right. We got 2 quotes here from Ted Sorensen and John F. Kennedy himself. Okay. The single biggest obstacle to his election was his religion. You should have seen the hate mail that came in, both from rednecks and from liberal intellectuals who should have known better. Ooh, yeah, this photo scared people pretty bad. That's Kennedy leaving what? Uh-oh, Catholic Church. So yeah, this got pretty out of hand. Kennedy had to address it himself. Here's what he said. Contrary to common newspaper usage, I am not the Catholic candidate for president. I am the Democratic Party's candidate for president, who happens also to be a Catholic. I do not speak for my church on public matters, and the church does not speak for me. He had to make it very clear that he would not be answering to the Vatican, that he would be the American president. Separation between church and state, he would abide. So what'd they say? On the web here, the line, they said this was a change. Okay, let's see how they argued it as a change. Okay, they mentioned that he's the first Catholic president, so there's a change for you. Yeah, going through. Yeah, you see quite a few deists and others. That can work. That can make sense. You could have also argued as form of continuity, the pushing and looking at nativist mentality to Irish immigrants. That kind of continuation there. That could work as well. The assassination. Okay, feels a little weird going this one. Let's skip that. We'll come back to that. Let's go to civil rights next. So the quotes I gave for civil rights down here from John F. Kennedy himself here. Okay, here's what he said on the topic of civil rights. Oh, and this is coming right after, as we'll talk more, and you're reading about now, massive demonstrations. Here's what he said. Today we are committed to a worldwide struggle to promote and protect the rights of all who wish to be free. It ought to be possible, in short, for every American to enjoy the privileges of being American without regard to his race or his color. This is one country. It has become one country because all of us and all the people who came here had an equal chance to develop their talents. We cannot say to 10% of the population that you can't have that right, that your children cannot have the chance to develop whatever talents they have, that the only way that they are going to get their rights is to go in the street and demonstrate. I think we owe them, and we owe ourselves a better country than that. So this is given in 1963. And it seems very clear that Kennedy's for civil rights, for promotion of end of segregation, of separate but equal facilities. Unfortunately, that doesn't speak to his record for his first several years in office, in which he does, frankly, very little. The changes he talks about and promotes here, we also would unfortunately not be able to see how much he could have achieved, as he will be assassinated. But let's see, at least with this mentality, where Last Hour placed that on our line. And they said this was a huge change. Okay, let's go back down. Let's figure out why. All right. Okay, so we wanted to change, and the terminology they're bringing up is end the Jim Crow laws from Reconstruction, and also to challenge Plessy versus Ferguson. Yes, that Supreme Court case we saw that said separate but equal facilities were constitutional. He's very clearly saying he's against that. Again, unfortunately, we don't get to see how forceful his change would have come, as our next topic, his assassination, will show. For Kennedy's assassination, we have a historian quote and Walter Cronkite, famous news anchor. This is what Cronkite said over the television. From Dallas, Texas, the flash apparently official. President Kennedy died at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time, 2 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, some 38 minutes ago. Famous clip. He's choked up. Just a shocking moment, right? You're talking about a man that epitomized such hope for many in the nation, epitomized youth, this idea of Camelot, and him being struck down in this kind of new consumer culture of not just products but media and news. It's really hard for people to just accept, come to terms with. As this historian said, by the evening of the day he was killed, he had become a legend, enshrouded in a fog of grief and posthumous adulation from which he has never fully emerged. It's just like we saw with civil rights. It's hard to say what he would have done had he lived. This is a photo of his Vice President Johnson being sworn in on Air Force One. That's Kennedy's wife Jackie next to him. So what did they say? They called this, sadly, a continuity. Yeah, they're probably not wrong here. Let's take a look at why. And they compare him to Abraham Lincoln. Yes, a president who was assassinated despite pushing for positive change. I mean, just like we never got to see how JFK would have contended with the civil rights movement in full force, we didn't get to see how Lincoln would have contended with the Reconstruction era. So this is a little conversation just about some of Kennedy's changes in mentalities, some of the things that stay the same. Please continue reading your book. Thursday we'll have The Inquisitive for that chapter, and we'll keep having conversations like this as well. Please reach out with any questions, concerns, comments you have, and I can certainly help you out. All right, talk to you guys soon.